Hi, everyone. I hope you're safe and healthy wherever you're watching this. My name is Rachel Lears. I am a documentary filmmaker and I graduated Stuart in 1995. I make films that are fun to watch and show how ordinary people can make historic social and political change possible. Right now, I'm at home with my husband and 4-year-old son in Brooklyn, which is basically the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak in the US. For about a week now, the only traffic sounds we can hear outside are sirens. So this is a really scary time. Obviously, there are dangers for everyone, but some of us are more vulnerable than others. Many of you might already be experiencing illness or economic hardship in your families, or you may be fearful of what could happen to yourself or your loved ones or your community. Those fears and struggles are serious and you're not alone. But I want to talk about hope also. A crisis is a moment of opportunity for transformational change. I truly believe that it's possible to come out of this with a society and a world that is better, more just and sustainable for everyone. I realize that sounds pretty optimistic, so I want to tell you a little bit about how I came to believe this. For a long time, when I was younger, even though I cared a lot about the problems and issues that I saw around me in the world, I really didn't think there was anything I could do about them. I vacillated between feeling guilty for not doing more and feeling cynical that it just seemed impossible to achieve the huge solutions that I knew were necessary to solve problems like inequality or climate change. All of that began to change for me when Occupy Wall Street happened in New York City in 2011. And I got involved in social movement organizing for the first time. In just a few months, we brought economic inequality into the center of the national conversation for the first time in my lifetime, and it's really stayed there ever since. I began to realize that meaningful change isn't about each of us alone choosing to do small things. That's not enough. Real change happens when we build strong relationships with one another, find common ground, empower each other, and create a powerful force for actions we can take together. So I started making documentaries about this process, and I've learned so much from the people that I've worked with. My 2014 film, The Hand That Feeds, is the story of an amazing group of undocumented workers at a deli in Manhattan who stood up and won a historic contract for basic labor rights and dignity in their workplace. I saw how these workers drew strength from each other and also from the incredibly difficult journeys that each of them had made individually to immigrate to this country and build a life here. And then my most recent film from last year is called Knock Down the House. It follows 4 working class women who ran insurgent campaigns for Congress in 2018, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who you might be familiar with. These 4 women were all ordinary people around the country who had experienced firsthand the life and death stakes of injustice. A nurse from Ferguson, Missouri, a bartender from the Bronx, a coal miner's daughter from West Virginia, and a grieving mother from Nevada. Despite being from different backgrounds, they drew strength and courage from connecting with each other and other candidates, and they all turned their personal experiences of loss and pain into a drive for positive action. Between these 2 projects, I had a difficult personal journey of my own. I lost 3 pregnancies, and then when I finally had my son Max in 2016, I got very sick right before he was born, and then he had feeding problems for the first few months of his life. This was a really difficult time, but we got through it and came out fine. As a new mom, I have basically come to feel like I have to believe that a better world is possible. I have to. I have a duty to my son and to everyone younger than me to do everything I can to fight for it. And every time that fight gets hard, I remember what I've learned from my own tough times and from all the incredible people in my films. You grieve. You connect with other people who understand what you're going through. you take care of yourself, you try to learn from the situation, and you keep fighting. So I want to leave you with 3 takeaways and 2 things you can do right now. Number 1, solidarity, not just charity. It's great to give to others if you can, but to really change the world, we have to stand beside each other. You can't do it alone, and you don't have to. Solidarity is people realizing they share the same struggles and dreams. Solidarity is working together for changes that are better for everyone. As Amy Villela from Knock Down the House says, we are only as strong as the most vulnerable in our communities. Number 2, no matter what the most difficult things are that you've been through in your life, you can draw from them to build something positive for the future. This is true for individuals and for societies. Number 3, everyone's voice matters in the democratic process. Even if you're too young to vote, you can make your voice heard, and there's so many ways to be part of movements for change. Which brings us to 2 things that you can do right now to help turn this scary and difficult time in our collective experience into a drive for a future that is better than the present and the past. Number 1, go to thepeoplesbailout.org to learn about solutions to the current crisis that are rooted in justice and actions you can take to support them. And number 2, go to sunrisemovement.org and click on the link at the top to join a mass phone call to learn about how young people specifically are leading the fight for solutions that will help our society heal from the pandemic and build a sustainable future, and how you can be part of turning this crisis into action. So thank you so much for listening. Stay safe, stay home, and stay hopeful.